This is Wednesday Words for December the 17th, 2025, here on Following Him, the Disciple Life. The word for today is a Greek word, so we're looking at a word from the New Testament, and that word is eirene. This is the word that is translated in the New Testament as peace. Now, last week we also looked at a word that is translated as peace, and this is the Hebrew term, the concept shalom. This is the word that's used in the Old Testament whenever we see the word peace. It's the word shalom. When you see where it talks about prophetically about Jesus being the Prince of Peace, that is the Prince of Shalom. Well, the word for peace in the New Testament is this word eirene. Now, with the Hebrew term for peace, shalom, this carries with it the idea of wholeness or completeness. So, it's more than just free of conflict. Similar concept with eirene. Eirene comes from a Greek verb, eiro, which means to join or bind together. So, that does make sense when we're talking in the Old Testament about a term that means wholeness or completeness. So in the New Testament, we have this Greek term that comes from a verb that means join or bind together. Similar ideas there. So when we talk about eirene, peace, in the New Testament, we're talking, you can picture in your mind to a joining or being bound together. And this actually makes a lot of sense in some of the ways that we see it used in the New Testament. For example, consider this idea of to join or bind together with Ephesians 2:14. For he himself is our peace. This is our eirene, our binding together, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of separation. Or consider a verse like Ephesians 4:3, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. So that you could think of that as like the bond of binding together. So we get this, this visual there in Ephesians 2:14 of Christ taking one group and another group and binding them together. Or there in Ephesians 4:3, it takes on this intensity with this bond of binding together. It's an extra depth, an extra intensity to that concept there of peace. So the word is eirene. It is translated as peace, and it comes from a verb that means to join or bind together. You have a great rest of the day, and shalom, or I guess this time, eirene.